Welcome to Styled for Growth, the podcast where mindset meets style and presence becomes your power. I am your host, Antasia Moore, and each week we'll dive into the tools, truths, and transformation behind showing up as the woman you're meant to be, inside and out. All right, y'all, what's going on? So we are now in episode 6, Capsule Clarity and Style Without the Stress. So yeah, wardrobe decluttering with intention is definitely about you. It's not about anybody else that's beside you. I don't know why we always want to go towards somebody else for the things that we need instead of turning within to ourselves to figure out what it is that we actually are trying to create, especially in our capsule. And so, what is a capsule? What a capsule is and what it's not. So, a capsule is not about somebody else. A capsule is when you really want to hone your own craft, want to move your niche and your career position up to one of the spots that you see best. That's really what a capsule is. A capsule is really just that simple. You take your pieces that resonate with you yourself, who you see yourself becoming, and not your coworkers, not especially your coworkers who have stinking attitudes or coworkers who always give you a stink eye or a stink thought or a stink vibe. And when you really figure out why that's really about you and not a person that's constantly so stank towards you, then it makes your capsule building experiences a little more pleasant. And again, the mindset behind simplifying your closet is not to constantly just bash yourself like, oh, I just shop way too often, bruh. Like, this is just insane. Just go on this pity party with your bottle of wine, just beat and abuse yourself up the whole entire day or two that it takes to make your thoughts really manifest into the woman that you're trying to become. The mindset behind simplifying your closet is more so about a cohesive aesthetic. That's more so about allowing you to manifest your woman in a spirit of that really speaks to your humility, that really allows you to come into the woman that you have been dreaming about for Lord knows how many years, 5, 6, 4, 3, 10, 20. And by the time you actually allow yourself to manifest her and become her and have that moment where you feel as though you have really went a route that was preferably unique to who you wanted to manifest. And that's really what you want to do. So what to keep versus what to let go. But it's really about a matter of preference and usually a personal one. And that's where you have to start. What to keep that I chose was things that really were able to help manifest who I wanted to become. And that means a lady who was listening to others who were giving advice, especially the sound advice, of course. We don't want to always shy away from having sound judgment. So whether that means a book, somebody who's really kind and good to you, who's sharing their advice and you trust it, those are ways to figure out what it is that you want to keep. And then things that you want to let go of, figure out if it's bringing you peace or some kind of moment of you're looking back with distraught and of spirit of being distraught. And then that's how you know that that's something that you need to let go of. And what that idea and item may be differs from every person because we're all different. So what works for Susan isn't going to work for Sarah. What works for Maria is not going to work for Suzanne. So you really want to pay attention to what speaks to you. And usually what speaks to you is on a personal level. So always keep that in mind. You're dressing for women who really are going to look to you for an example. So you're required to set a tone, you're required to set a certain standard. And as Steve Harvey says, standards get some, okay? And when you realize what your standards are, then you know that you're not going to just show up any kind of way. You know that you're above showing up any kind of way at this point. You're not about that type of drama in life. You're really trying to figure out what resonates with you and with the woman that you want to become. So by the time you really hit her and you see that that's who she is and you mark off one of your check marks, you can smile and find courage and find laughter and humor and beauty and all that surrounds you, not just in what somebody else has said. And again, that's where we kind of lose one another at that he said, she said, the fact that somebody else don't really want you to reach all that you're becoming. What does it have to do with you? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. People can assume all day long what they want to, but what does that have to do with the woman that you're trying to become? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. People can say whatever they want to do. And 10 years later, you'll check off if they did it or not. If they were so busy talking smack and not helping you reach your goal, most likely, probably not, because they wasted their energy doing that and less energy in really building their sales up. So, things to let go of is probably personas and your clothing items that remind you of that type of energy. And then when you realize that you're bossing up and you're becoming the woman that you've been dreaming of, then those are the ideas that we actually get to keep. And that's what it is that we choose to keep in our capsule wardrobe. Because something like that allows us to experience that type of clarity. And clarity is really where the shiny thoughts are. So when you deal with clarity, it's like a diamond. You polish that diamond and you polish and polish so that it sparkles. It's clear cut. Clarity of carrot is really so noticeable as to the point where you really cannot get around how stunningly clear and clarity of a cut of carrot that this particular diamond is. So it's really pretty much basically the same thing. As you go over and you kind of figure out what you want to think about, how you're trying to show up in the days, your capsule is going to reflect this. When you really take the time out to figure out if this woman reads books, if this woman visits museums, if this woman goes to zoos with her children, whether you're a family persona when you're dealing with your parental skills, you're a mother who loves her children, whether you're a young lady who appreciates a person who's walked a good stage or two to figure out what it was that they wanted to have as their niche. When you got to those points in times, you were a young lady who chose to do the simple thought processes of becoming the best that was possible at that point in time, and particularly speaking, so that you were able to pass your courses and those good grades that you needed to actually expand what was considered your rubber band placed on you by other people. And that's ultimately how you do. And then when you look back, you also get to notice a few other things about what took place. And as long as you jot down and take your notes about what's taking place, most likely you're really already going to be above the crowd. And that's really where it's basically the clearest of air, the sharpest of breathing, the moments where your mind is the most powerful because you don't have anybody around you that's trying to bring you down within your vicinity. You're too high up now at this point. So to reach those type of altitudes becomes dangerous for those people who are already wheezing and having harder problems with their respiratory systems because the air up there, it's so strenuous to get that way. You're already starting out with having breathing problems. How are you going to transcend the rest of that climb and still maintain your breath work? You're not going to really be able to do those things. And then as you begin to fly around, that's going to take more energy, more crispness of air is really going to benefit the lady who has the moment to have that clarity of mind and moment and thought and thinking patterns. And that's why it's so crucial to really make sure that you surround yourself with beautiful thoughts and thinking patterns at all times because people are going to try you. They can be friends that you've known for years. They can be people who you believe have loved you for years because they're your family members. But that doesn't always equate to them being able to realize what's best for you and your thought patterns and who you want to hang around and who your children need to grow into and why it is that they're behaving the way that they do. And at the end of the day, when you really reflect back on your memory, just always pull that out. What does that have to do with I? And what does that have to do with what my own intentions are? Nothing. And as long as you have that back to kind of constantly spring off as a board, you're most likely going to manifest every dream that you ever wanted. And that's ultimately what all of us wants, whether we choose to meditate on this or we choose to meditate on Mary Poppins. That ultimately is a personal decision. But that doesn't mean that we're going to choose whether or not, and that whatever that choice is going to necessarily get stopped because we chose to manifest this one or that one. Whatever we choose to think about is necessarily what's manifesting. And so that's what you want to think about when it comes to dealing with your capsule as well. When you think about the woman that you're trying to manifest, your capsule needs to reflect that. And truthfully, it's unforgiving that it does. And that's ultimately where you want to keep your focus at. Because that clarity of understanding, the simplifying your closet is necessarily not just about getting rid of things and making your room a little bit more accessible. Because trust, I get those ideas. Cleanliness is next to godliness. I'm the very first person that jumps on the screen when it comes to dealing with make sure everything is straight. I want to be able to stay ready so I ain't got to get ready. So I understand that. I get it. But it's deeper than just having a clear space to walk into. What about your mind? When your mind is clear of drama from all these dusty men and whoever else is so quick to jump down your throat or your pants or whatever else, your mind is just as clear and sharp when you enter into it as well to think about the things that the young lady who you're manifesting does, especially by the time you find the time that you are become or becomes and or have became her and that entity, that persona, that person, that woman that you wanted to emulate and manifest, you have the room and space and a mind to do so. So I don't want us to focus just on the physical benefits, but also want us to focus on the mental and mindset benefits that are just as equally important. Because by the time she's where she's at, let's say for an example, when I'm trying to get y'all to understand that, dress her. If the young lady that you want is the CEO carries a lunch pail, get the lunch pail out the night before. And that is something that is a part of your capsule wardrobe, especially on the days that is really geared towards that type of energy. By the time that she's there, you have the clear enough mindset and presence of mind, which I love to say, and really are able to allow that presence to speak for you. Not your auntie, not your baby, not your children. Of course, we love all of these people, but we also have to practice self love, self compassion, self respect, self understanding. Know thyself remains the key advice. Hang out with you. Take the capsule moment or day and make it something that's really fun. Make a day out of it. Make it a date me night. Make it a night of I'm taking myself out on a journey through this closet and I'm going to enjoy it. I'm going to have some snacks. I'll bring some good music. I may light a candle or two. And that way you set a tone for energy that allows other people to say, I'm not available for anything more than what I have on my plate right now. What I am here for is only the things that I have checked off. Maybe tomorrow we can try again. Okay, so when that energy is given off, it's like a frequency. Those frequencies say, okay, right, as if we speaking of now, I'm currently unavailable. I'm on do not disturb, DND. Okay, my silence cell phone is silence. My ringer is not getting through. The ringer is silence. If I see it, cool, pick it up, fine. If I don't get to it, that's fine as well. And if you leave a voicemail, I'll check it. If it's an emergency, I'll get back to you at my earliest convenience. It's much like a voicemail, a voice memo. Having memos, I love a good memorandum. I love a good memo. The Miranda young lady actually stems from that name. And she's a character that plays inside of Sex and the City. And she's a white lady. And I do believe she is a gay female or lesbian. And so she's not really that type of female that she actually portrayed in this particular series. And just like that, it's like another spin off. And you never really get to see Samantha until the very next episode. And then there were so many spoiler alerts where it was almost kind of sort of defeating the purpose. But I actually have not got to see season two, I want to say, of And Just Like That. And I did see season one. I did see all of the Sex in the Cities, and I learned to do those things alone and by myself. Some of the girlfriends at that point in time, where I was kind of sort of figuring everything out, didn't make it to be able to rock with us and see season two. They didn't stand the test of time. They didn't get that privilege. And you have to kind of sort of take those times that are a little empty in that space and idea and spend it and place that energy on you. Place what you're giving to other people rather quickly, rather too quickly, rather too incessantly. And notice that when you're showing up for those same entities and then you have something go on and they're not there, are you going to really be in such a rush to really go and call them? No. So that time and energy that's spent calling and figuring out what it is that you want to watch is put in a different energy space. It's not in them any longer. It's now in the persona that you wish to become. And that is where that positivity of awareness. Remember, I always tell you all pay attention. That is why it's so crucial, because once the decisions are done and made, it's very hard and difficult to go back and redo them. We don't live in hot tub time machine world. It's a beautiful comedy. I love comedies, but that is not based in reality. So there's no way to go back and redo something once it's done. All right. So our call for y'all is going. So want my capsule planning template. Okay. If you are interested, then please know that it's linked in the show notes. Okay. So I am going to make sure that you all have that as well. And I love you all, and I will talk to you all again soon.